welcome to WRPB and WRPB Studios. So, you guys have been with me a long time and know that I have a lung illness, and I'm blessed that I'm still alive. Been on my deathbed 3 times, but through my time, people have mentioned to me, Wayne, you should try a hyperbaric chamber. And one of the things that had happened to me is I was in a fire, and I had first, second, and third degree burns on my feet. And they wanted me to do a hyperbaric chamber, and I didn't do it. Well, I finally got around to not doing it yet, but learning more. And as I learn it, I want you to learn it. With me is Scott Grove from OSI Health Center.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what is OSI Health Center?
OSI Health Center is a biohacking facility in Stewart, and we have oxygen, sauna, and cold plunge ice baths. Those are our primary 5 of our 5 modalities. Those are the ones that we use the most to help people get in shape.
Okay, because I'm old. Oxygen?
Oxygen,
What else?
hyperbaric oxygen,
Okay.
infrared saunas, and cold plunge ice baths.
When you say infrared saunas, is that like red light therapy?
Yeah, infrared sauna. Infrared is a form of red light therapy. Yep, and that's what we use to create photobiomodulation to the body and help energize the mitochondria and detox the body. So,
Okay, so you said a lot of things that most of us probably don't understand because we're not that smart. How long are you doing this?
well, I've been doing the martial arts, the fitness, and all these personal training aspects for 30 years. But 5 years ago, I did have a little bit of a change. I had a tumor diagnosed, and it was in my head. And they took it out, and when they did that, I wanted to learn how to walk and feed myself again. And because I wanted so badly to do that, I started asking around. One of the doctors told me I should look into hyperbarics. That's when it fundamentally made a change. We still do, my wife and I, we still do yoga, we still do personal training, we still teach martial arts. But hyperbarics and infrared saunas and cold plunge ice baths have gone to the forefront of the healing modalities that we use because they, first of all, worked so well for me. And then they started working so well for others that came to our door looking for the same kind of thing.
Interesting that you say that because I was filming a concert and I met a young lady there who had MS.
Okay.
And we were talking, became good friends, and she had a hyperbaric chamber. She bought it.
Mhm.
And she said, I don't know how I'd survive without it.
Yeah.
Okay? So now she moves it into her house, and I guess there was a leak or whatever in her house, and now she has a mold problem.
Okay.
And she's very sensitive. I guess when you have MS, you're more sensitive to everything.
I think you're more sensitive to every tactile touch, I believe. Yeah.
So she didn't know what to do because how do you know if there's mold in the hyperbaric chamber or whatever?
Yeah.
So I sent her to this company that I know that's been through here that do cleanup, and they're licensed cleanup, so they can do if someone gets murdered, blood, and all that stuff.
Okay.
So I said, look, I'm going to send you them, have them look at it, clean it, and then plastic wrap it.
Okay.
And that's what she did, and then she moved it to her other house,
Yeah.
the new house,
Yeah.
and she said it comes out totally clean.
Good.
So she swears by it. Is that, like, for lack of a better word, is that your biggest seller or things that come to you for mostly for?
Well, I think to answer the question is the 5 modalities that we use for healing the most. Out of those 5 modalities, the hyperbaric oxygen is the one that you cannot replace.
Excuse me.
Gesundheit.
Thank you.
It's the one that you cannot replace. All right, you can go like walk on the beach and get sunlight. You can go, you can sweat your butt off doing whatever you want to do, exercises or something of the sort. You don't need a chamber or an infrared sauna for that. The cold plunge ice baths. Throw a bunch of ice in a tub. You got a cold plunge ice bath, right? But you can't reproduce or replicate an oxygen chamber without a hyperbaric chamber. So the whole chain of our body healing goes in that direction. We can have all the nutrients, we can have all the stem cells, we can have all the mitochondria, we can have everything available in our body. And they're going to operate and they're going to function at the regular rate. But when you supercharge them with oxygen, they operate better, they function better. And you can have, like, someone can go out and they can buy all the vitamins in the world. Their body can be filled with those vitamins, but their body doesn't have the ability to use those vitamins to get the energy and to methylate a lot of those vitamins to actually turn them into usable nutrients in the system. They're useless. The spot where we start is with oxygen because it's the primary source of energy. There's just no way around it. It's the air you breathe.
So now that you mention that, give me some details of what a hyperbaric chamber is.
So if you look at a hyperbaric chamber, if for lack of better description, all right, and nobody be scared, all right, lack of better description, it's like a big giant sarcophagus. It's a tube you get into. It's an enclosed tube. We have
Lay or stand?
We have three different versions. All right, so there's a laying down one. There's a bed. There's a chair one. It's like if you can get into a van, you can get into it. It's an envelope's large. And then there's a wheelchair accessible one, which has a very strong aluminum bottom and stuff, and is just designed for wheelchair accessibility if someone wants to speed up healing on their hips, if they had hip replacements, or if they just are, for whatever reason, they're in a wheelchair,
right?
You know, and they need access to it too. So we have a bunch of different configurations, right? But in essence, what it does is it compresses the oxygen into your body. Your body absorbs that oxygen. Because it's compressed, it more easily diffuses into the blood. So when gases, or oxygen as a gas, turns into a liquid and goes into your blood plasma, then it gets into deeper tissues. It gets in deeper into the capillaries, and it creates healing in the body, and it powers up your stem cells. Your stem cells can't heal anything without oxygen. It powers up your mitochondria, and mitochondria in some ways can operate in low oxygen environments, but there are no mitochondria that can actually operate in a zero oxygen environment, right? So all these things are necessary. It's kind of, if you would equate it to this, so like a bunch of construction workers show up to a job site, and they say, hey boss, we got our nails, we got our hammers, we got all the stuff we need. Here's the generator, here's the mitochondria over here, we got our wood planks, we got our stem cells. Where's the electricity, right? Oxygen is the electricity for the body. It's the power that the body needs to go ahead and build a beautiful house and to repair and rejuvenate the body.
So I'm going to tell you how somebody that's old listens to what you say,
Okay.
and what goes through my mind.
Okay.
When you spoke about the compressed oxygen.
Yeah.
So I think about a thing that squeezes lemons. It forces, so the compressed thing forces the
It's a
oxygen
good description, yeah.
into your body, right?
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
that
yeah,
really
yeah.
kind of the story?
That's what it is. It goes to a point of, we have ATA 2.0 and then 1.5. And so what that is just ultimate altitude is what ATA means, right? And so it's the concept of having that much oxygen compressed into the body. So instead of saying PSI, we're saying stuff like we're going underwater or going down in pressure, all right?
Okay.
And so that's in essence what you're doing. When you think of what the hyperbarics create, which is angiogenesis, and that happens in your brain, it happens in the finite little muscles in the body. It's the concept of taking like a balloon and squeezing that balloon, and the top of the balloon kind of presses out.
Right.
It's under pressure. That's the same thing that hyperbarics is actually doing inside the body. It's bringing nutrients deep into the muscles, deep into the tissue that normally doesn't get that nutrient. And then when it does that, the body says, oh, here's some more pathways. We're going to build some more vessels or artery materials around it. And then more and more happens. That's the process of angiogenesis, which is the building of new blood vessels.
Okay. How does it affect your breathing? Do you have like an oxygen mask in there, or could one deal with that compression?
That's a good question. So there are some counterindications that they're omitted from being able to do it. Oxygen does interact with certain kinds of medications, and we have a list of that. It's too extensive to go over right now. Yeah.
And I don't want, if you guys want to know, touch base with them.
Yeah. We have a whole list of it on the website.
Okay.
Yeah. All that information is there. But it interacts with certain kinds of medications, but not many. People who are, let's say, incontinent, claustrophobic, they're precluded until they get over those issues. If you have a cold, it does create pressure, right? And it feels good. It's a good pressure, but for that time period, you are precluded from being able to use the chamber until that cold has gone away or that congestion has gone away. But for the most part, 95% of the people that do hyperbarics or want to do it, they're capable of doing it. When you're inside that chamber, you may feel the pressure, but it doesn't feel bad. And within a short, like I'd say 10 minutes or so at the very most, you find yourself breathing even more easily than you used to. So it does the opposite.
We spoke before we got on there, and I was telling you that I have a 60% lung function.
Yeah.
How does that affect me from doing a hyperbaric chamber? And the reason I say that is because I'm thinking about people with COPD and stuff like that. Are they affected?
So there are people that are affected with COPD. There are people that are affected with lower lung function. There is a lot of people that are affected with water on the lungs. And what we do is we have the ability to go into just regular cannula, right? Just breathing oxygen, just doing some regular information gathering. So how does your body react with it? What happens? We can go to 1.0, we can go to 1.5, we can go to, we can go to 0.5 kind of thing on the hyperbaric pressure. Some people, like, if you will, when you look at the model, some people are not able to do that 2.0. And that's just because it makes their ears feel uncomfortable. It makes their throat feel uncomfortable.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that they can't take some pressurization of oxygen into the body. So if you look at the equivalence of a 1.5 chamber, right, it'll take roughly an hour and a half to fully saturate the majority of human bodies, right? In a 2.0, it'll take about an hour. They roughly do the same things, but the higher the pressure, the quicker it happens.
I'm short. Will it take less time?
Maybe.
I'm just curious. Okay.
It does go by our body size, right? So if you have a 200-pound person and a
That's a
100-pound
blessing for me.
person, yeah, the 200-pound person, it's going to take longer for their body to be fully saturated with that oxygen than it will take that 100-pound person. It also depends on health. What is your respiratory rate? If you fall asleep, when you fall asleep, your respiratory rate slows down. So that doesn't hurt you to fall asleep in the chamber. It actually feels really, really good, but you don't always get the full benefit that you can, right? If you have a cold, if your body is in some way, shape, or form mitochondria deficient in some way and it's not working to its fullest, you might have all that oxygen there, and maybe even your stem cells have been filled up with all the oxygen, but the mitochondria is still sluggish with repairing. So one of the biggest misnomers that I hear all the time, I literally hear it all the time, is this big giant claim that isn't true, that hyperbaric chambers heal this and this and that, right?
That's what I heard.
Yes, the hyperbaric chamber doesn't. The only thing the hyperbaric chamber does is it pressurizes oxygen. We pressurize pure oxygen into the cannula, to the nose, right? But the inside of the chamber is only at 30%. This minimizes risk of fire hazards. So when you hear of someone that is in a risk of a fire hazard, normally they have a skin issue. Maybe they have third-degree burns or something. And that benefit of doing 100% pure oxygen into the chamber is very, very good for the body, very good for the skin, but it increases the risk of fire, right? So we stay below that risk of fire inside of our chambers. We put 100% oxygen inside of the body, and the healthier the person is, the more of a benefit they're going to get out of it.
Okay. Last thing about the hyperbaric training, then we're going to move on to something else.
Got it.
When you go through the treatment an hour and a half later, and you come out, does it give you more energy? Does it make you more awake?
Well, that answer is actually, it's independent by every single person,
Okay.
right? So some people come out and they're like wired, like, I feel so good, I want to go play like 5 games of tennis, you know what I'm saying? Other people come out and say, I just want to go to sleep. I just
That
want
would
to
be
go to
me.
sleep. Yeah. So
I just want to go sleep anyway.
So all of those things are good things. When a person comes out of a hyperbaric chamber and they've been having that oxygen pushed into their system for, let's say, at least an hour, right? And they come out and they say, I want to go to sleep. It's because the body repairs best while you're sleeping. So when you are in REM stage, it fixes everything. And when you have that oxygen available to the system, the mitochondria finally says, someone did just plug in the generator. Let's go fix all this, right? And in order to fix it, you need to go to sleep so it can do that, right? So you feel real tired and you want to go to sleep. Some people, they don't have as much damage. And so when they do it, they're excited. There's been people with ADHD, and they're like, the kids are bouncing off the walls and stuff like that. And then they come out of the chamber and they're just like all calm and quiet, There's children with autism that have done the chamber with us numerous times, and they come out and for the first time in your life, they're giving you eye contact and they're being verbal. That sometimes they don't speak or don't speak well, right? And so it helps every single kind of neurodivergency, whether you have Alzheimer's or Parkinson's. You'll find yourself remembering better. Your hands will stop shaking. So everybody has a different response, and what that response really boils down to is, what do you need the most? You might have a heart condition that you know nothing about, but the body knows about it. And once it has that time to go ahead and heal it and the energy to do so, it'll focus on doing that.
I had the 2 strokes.
Yeah.
And I have a sense of tremors in these 2 fingers. Now, I'm blessed because people with 2 strokes are not in the position that I am. So I'm very, very lucky. Okay, let's go to one of the other modalities that you do.
So first would be the hyperbarics, right? And at that same time that you're thinking about the modalities, you want to think about the stem regen. Okay, so stem cells are in our body, and as we get older, we just have less of them, right? There's less of them circulating in our body, but that's not completely and entirely true because there's the same amount of stem cells available in your bone marrow at all times. So embryonic stem cells, they're not good. We want to stay away from that kind of stuff, all right? It's designed to actually create a heart out of a one-celled nothing, or a zygote, right? It's designed from the beginning to go into something. It's not good for repairing a damaged lung tissue or something of the sort, right? What's best for that is your bone marrow stem cells, right? So when a stem cell is in the bicep or when a stem cell is in the arm or the pancreas, it's decided that I'm going to be a pancreas stem cell and I'm going to repair this organ at all times, or I'm going to repair this muscle at all times. A pancreas stem cell never becomes a bicep stem cell. But the bone marrow stem cells, they're multi-plural. They can be anything. They haven't differentiated. I said that word wrong. Differentiated yet.
So you can pull stem cells from the bone marrow and put them almost anywhere.
Well, the answer is yes, you can, right? And when someone takes stem cells from a different person's body and puts them into your body, if someone donates stem cells for you, there's a high rejection rate of those stem cells. We're going to one step that's even better, is that we're getting your body to release its own bone marrow stem cells. And those things replenish all the time, right? You use them and they replenish. If you don't use them, they don't replenish, right? So when it comes to someone else donating you the stem cells, that can help a lot, but there is a rejection rate that abides within that model. When it comes to you using your own stem cells, guess what the rejection rate is?
Almost nil.
It's zero. You don't reject any of them. So what we're doing is we're encouraging the body to release those stem cells. First, we're kicking your body up with a bunch of oxygen. The stem regen that we offer, it actually goes for a 30-day period. Then we encourage the body to mobilize those stem cells to get them to move through the body by using certain kinds of botanicals and certain kinds of plant extracts to do it. And so we know that stem cells can be increased in our body by cacao or by blue-green algae or black aloe. It makes more of them and more of them and more of them. And so then what we're doing is we're also causing a signaler, which is a kind of detoxer that gets rid of the things that kind of get in the way and create impedance for those stem cells to find the area that they need help. So when you're looking at the body and says, I injured something, I got inflammation, I got a burn, I got a cut, whatever it was, right? It inflames. And the inflammation is a signal being sent by the body saying, hey, come over here and repair me, right? And the more stem cells you have in circulation, the better your repair is. And the more powered those stem cells are in the mitochondria that does the repairing, the better repairing you get.
Interesting. Let's take a next modality.
Next modality on our list would be the importance of infrared sauna. And that is because detoxing is one of the primary issues on our body continuously. So we want to sweat really hard. The infrared sauna, how do I say it? It energizes your cell itself. It's not a microwave. Everyone always says, oh, it's like I'm cooking me from the inside out. You're not being cooked, right? And anyway, in infrared sauna, it powers the photosynthesis cells inside of our body. Just like trees have photosynthesis cells and they create photosynthesis, we create biomodulation, right? Photobiomodulation, right? And that gives our internal cells energy. And there's all kinds of energies that come from light. So when you think of things like sunlight, like everyone knows, right? Sunlight is really good for you, right?
Right.
From it, you get your vitamin D, but you and I both know. Everybody knows. Guys, if anybody's listening, there's no such thing as vitamin D coming out of the sun, all right?
Okay.
Right? There's no such thing. But what there is the UV lights that hit your body and use your body to create with the other elements that are in it, the hormone that we identify as vitamin D. But in reality, vitamin D would be more aptly described as a hormone. There's no vitamins coming out of it, right? So light is one of our needed forms of energy that's given to our body. As a matter of fact, if you look at the importance of the kind of energies that are in your body, the most important energy would be oxygen. But if you think about it, I need food, but I can go like 3 months without food, right? I need water, but I can go for 3 months or 3 weeks without water. Your kidneys won't like it. It might cost you dearly to go that long, but you can go without water, right? I need light in every single way, but I can go for a very long time without light as well, all right? I need oxygen also. It's one of those modalities. We call it the oxidative pathway. It's the pathway in which we live completely all the time. I can go 7 seconds without oxygen. So by the process of elimination and just thinking, oh, what's the most important thing I need? Well, I need oxygen every 7 seconds. My body must have it. from that foundation, we begin building all the other things that we need to help heal and rejuvenate our body.
We take a lot of things for granted.
Yeah.
Okay, I took breathing for granted until I got a lung illness.
Yeah.
Okay, we go in the house, we flip the light switch. How it works, we could care less. Okay, we take it for granted. It's gonna come. You can flip the switch, light's gonna come on.
Yeah.
We're same with our bodies. We think we'll get up in the morning, we'll walk, everything will be fine.
Yeah.
Until something goes wrong. We're getting to the top of our time. How do people find you? You have a website?
Yeah, OSIHealthCenters.com. And then on the bottom it says Stewart's Biohackers. But we find people that are coming from all over the country for information. So that's where our location is. But if you want information, it doesn't matter where you're coming from. It's free.
Where are you located?
821 Southeast Ocean Boulevard in Stewart, Florida.
Okay, so I have to
I'm
ask
sorry, I didn't say that as fast. I'm new here. I just moved to this area. All
Okay,
right?
so I know where Southeast Ocean is.
Right. Do you know where the Stewart Hospital is?
Yes, north.
A little bit catty corner, to the east of that.
Okay,
Yeah.
so where Cleveland North is.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So you're more closer to the downtown
Yeah, we're probably about half a mile, not even
than
from
like the
downtown.
Bond
Yeah.
Theater and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Interesting. Everybody, here's the thing. We spoke about it with I had a doctor here who does Eastern medicine. If you think you can fix things by going to your doctor and him giving you scripts, you're barking up the wrong tree. Now, if I was having a heart attack or a stroke, I surely wouldn't want to go to a Chinese medicine guy. I want to go to a surgeon. But I don't ever want to get to that point, and there are things you can do to start avoiding that.
Yep.
Hyperbaric, the sauna thing.
Yep. The sauna.
Does it make you sweat like a sauna?
Oh yeah, helps detox the body.
So that pulls the toxins out.
It pulls the toxins out of the body. Yep. And that's why we use the C60, which is a detoxer that actually has a claw-like symptom. The buckyball of the C60 actually is being used as a binder after we sweat and have all those toxins loose in our body because it pulls them out. But at the end of the day, what you're saying is true, is that if people don't take their health into their own hands, they are going to end up in the hospital. They are going to end up on the surgeon's table. But there's so many things that we can do that we don't have to deal with those issues. We
Right.
don't have to be in that spot.
I so agree. I say it, and I said it a million times, use a professional, okay? Because we were talking about hyperbaric chamber. Oxygen is an interesting scenario because taking oxygen is a science. You can't just get an oxygen mask and not know how much you're putting into you. Is that correct?
For the most part, yeah, you'll end up with oxygen toxicity if you do it for too much. I mean,
Okay.
if you hit it for like a half hour to an hour, you're probably okay. But if you start doing it for 3 hours or all day, you're starting to push it.
You want to use a professional. Guys, OSI Health Center?
Yes,
Is that
sir.
right?
OSI Health
Check
Center.
them out, and we'll be right back. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you, sir.